Good evening and welcome to the Streets Don't Love You Back show. Today is February 16th, 2011. I'm your host, Lucinda, with my co-host, Boyd. And our topic is, as always, the Streets Don't Love You Back. Join us every Wednesday night with real people, real stories, and real changes as we hear the truth about gangs, drugs, violence, abuse, and other life issues. We have an awesome show for you tonight with our guest, Mr. BJ Billy Joe Chambers, and he grew up in Marianna, Arkansas, and later moved to Detroit, only to become known, along with his brothers, as some of the most notorious drug lords in American history. Just got out of prison after serving 22 years, just finished a book about his life, and tonight we're going to hear him for the very first time since he's been home, and we're going to hear his story and what happened to him and his brothers. So now let me welcome Boyd to the show.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight to a great show and a great, powerful interview. And none other than my homeboy from back in the day, the real BJ Chambers, you feel me? The man who made some mistakes in his life, paid for them mistakes, and now he's on a crusade to help the youth out here and encourage them to do what's real, you know? Without further ado, we're going to pass the mic over to my homeboy, BJ Chambers.
Hey, how everybody doing? My name is BJ Chambers. As they stated earlier, I'm from Marianna, Arkansas, where I grew up. I migrated to Detroit in the late 70s, where I met a young lady named Nisi, who I eventually stayed with, and down the line I got involved with drugs and eventually got in a great deal of trouble and got indicted by the feds and was actually sentenced to 45 years. Somewhere down the line, my case was reversed by the appeals court, and needless to say, I was resentenced to 27 years, which now turned out to be a blessing because I've served my time and now I'm free and living in Little Rock, Arkansas now.
My man. You know, first of all, I want to say, man, I give a big shout out to your whole family, man, your moms, your dad, your brothers and your sisters, and to your brother Larry and Otis and Willie. You know, I want to serve a big shout out to them as well. And, you know, they was my homeboys as well back in the day, you know. And what I want to start off asking you, BJ, tell the viewers a little bit about what made you get in the game deep like you did after meeting a young lady. Because I remember, you know, when you were selling weed at the store over there by Countryville back in the day, you know. So how did all that thing take off from that little bitty introduction until when Chamber Brothers went into full swing?
Well, actually, you know, like you say, it was like small steps, actually. It wasn't nothing intentionally that I planned it. It was just a gradual approach in the street life. You know, I started off very small, selling nickel bags of weed on Drexel Street, and where also I eventually started selling Dillon and Peels and stuff like that, and down the line, which I look at it was somewhat like training, you know, because weed is kind of not a really heavy game to be in because I wasn't making that much money in it, you know, but I was able to save some money, you know, down the line. And so, but when the heavy stuff came, which was cocaine, I had the money to jump right into it. And when I say jump right into it, that's what happened. Jump right into it, and it took off like a jet airplane, you know. And before you know it, it had exploded into one of the world, you know, largest epidemic from city to city. Not simply because of me, you know. I only dealt in Detroit, but before you knew it, you know, this was something that was plaguing every state and every city. You know, so once again, it wasn't anything intentionally what I planned it. It was just that drugs was all I knew. I was young when I first got involved with it. I was roughly, I think, about 16 years old, and I was pretty much, I think, 21 when I started selling cocaine, and everything pretty much went from there.
Dig that. And one thing I want to ask you, BJ, who came up with the idea when y'all opened up the $5 rock houses back in the day? You know what I mean? Because I got to give y'all props. You know, y'all the first one who started that and opened up $5 spots in the city. So I want to know who came up with that idea when that flowed up in the city.
Well, actually, it was me that came up with the idea. And the reason I came up with the idea, because so many people was coming up short. You know, when they was coming to buy a dime rock, they would always have $7, $7.50, $8, $9 change, a bunch of change and stuff like that. So I figured, since everybody will at least always be over $5, you know what I'm saying now, trying to get a 10, I figured it would be more economic to sell a person a 5. You know, then if he wanted to buy more than that, then he would get a 2 or 3. So that's pretty much where that came up with.
My man. And then from that right there, I remember when that took off as well. When that took off, you had several houses in the city at that time. You know, what I knew at the time, on the personal level, you had about 200-300 at one time, but I'm quite sure it probably grew a little bit bigger than that. Tell me how that monster created.
Well, actually, how it is, you know, you have so many houses going, and they don't actually be all of yours, but you fueling all of them. So, you know, and not actually they all be running at the same time. So you kind of have like houses in reserve, actually, you know, and so that's how it really goes, you know. But long as you got, say, 10 or 15 houses going strong, hey, you know, a person will be up under the assumption that you got, say, 100 or 200 houses at one time. And, you know, just like, you know, me and you know, we acknowledge the apartment building over there on Palmer. You know, man, that apartment building would do at the minimum $80,000-$90,000, you know, a day. And on its good days, it might topple a couple of $100,000. So when you got you know, hey man, it's hard to find any business these days that making that type of money per day. You know, and
right.
The guys who, you know, and the guys who were trying to get in the game back then, you know, man, they was lucky to turn 5,000 a day. You know. So that's how that come about, you know, where a person will be up under the assumption that you have that many going at one time.
Right. And I remember as well when the game had got to the point where you all had built y'all empire up from $3 million a day to almost up to $50 million a year in that game, you know what I mean, and became some of the biggest drug lords in state of Detroit and throughout your hometown, Arkansas, and other cities as well, you know. Tell us a little bit about what was happening when all that was coming at you, BJ, at that age of your life.
And in other words, you mean about the money aspect of it?
Yeah, the whole shebang, you know. What was your everyday life of living? What was your everyday life of living like that? Explain that to the viewers.
Well, you know, that life is pretty much it's like running a business. You know, you got to keep the cars on the road. You know, you got to keep, you know, houses supplied. You got to keep houses maintenance. You know, they need windows, toilets. You know, all these type of things. You know, you got money piled up everywhere. You know, you got girls everywhere. You know, you got people who, you know, trying to get on the payroll, getting kicked off the payroll. You know, I mean, you buying whatever you want, you're eating whatever you want, you're going wherever you want to, you know, and you're watching your back, you know, you're making sure, and then you got the police, you know, gunning for you. So it was a big, chaotic scene being controlled being kept under control every single day. Because once something gets loose, a malfunction, it should always be disaster.
My man, So by that right there, what would you tell these youths of the day, BJ, that look at BJ and the Chambers brothers, or might look at Freeway Ricky Ross, or might look at a Maserati Rick, or Cliff Jones, or Demetrius Holloway? What advice would you give them about this lifestyle?
Could you just repeat that one more time?
I say, at the height of your career, I say, and in today's world, what advice would you give these youths out here that's even thinking about that lifestyle or out there in that world?
Well, on the advice that I can give anyone, youth, elder, or whoever it may be who's thinking about entering that world, is that they got to be ready to pay the piper. Only a few people escape out of this game unscathed. It's prison, death, or something awaits you there. So my advice would be not to do it. Go to school. You know what I'm saying? Now, learn a trade. But whatever you do not pick that sack up. Do not think that you're going to hustle the streets, and the streets is not going to hustle you back. And your book and the title of your show, the streets don't love you back. It's a good title. And they need to take that and run with it. Because the streets do not love you back. You get in the game, it's going to always be, people skinning and grinning and patting you on the back, and love the money. But when everything is said and done, it's going to be you laying in the coffin, or you sitting in front of that judge, waiting to get sentenced to probably every day of your life.
My man. And I want to go to BJ. When how did you feel? Are you there, BJ?
I'm here. You said, how did I feel?
Yeah, I just wanted to know, how did you feel when the tape, one of you all's tape, hit Detroit media? Like I said, at that time, I was at my mother's house when that came on Channel 7. I'll never forget that long as I live, And I seen that tape hit the media in the DEA hand. You dig what I'm saying? How did that make you feel? You feel me when you actually seen that on TV yourself? Or did you see that on TV before that came down, BJ?
Hey, I did. And it was ironic that, I'm the kind of person, at least I was the kind of person then, that I kind of like listening to the radio when I rode around in the streets. I didn't really bump the loud music, although I did, but I would listen to the radio more than I listened to music. And I was hearing about this right here on the radio. And I was saying to myself, who is these people that they keep talking about? And they kept saying, okay, well, we're going to show it on this particular night at this time. So me and my friends actually met over to my house, because we knew when the news aired, we was going to know the people that they was talking about, because we dealt with pretty much everybody in the street. We had no clue it was us. So when they first aired it, and we seen my name flash across there, actually, I was flabbergasted. Everybody kind of just looked stoned, like, how is this? And then as it kept going, then it gave us more details about how this tape came about, which was in a drug raid. I knew my brother, filmed and taped and stuff like that, but to tape himself or his friend, one of his employees, counting money and bragging about it, and then let it fall in the hands of the police, man, it was shocking to everybody, especially me.
Right, because like I said, I remember, man, and your brother was on there. He counted 500,000 on there, and he said he all the ones to the hood, which y'all gave back to the neighborhood anyway. Even though y'all was doing wrong, like I said, drugs is wrong to sell, and we all know that. But you all did give back to the neighborhood as far as taking care of people and doing things for people. So just want to let people know, BJ and his brother just wasn't, no guys who hustled and did wrong. They was doing wrong, but still trying to get back in certain ways. But the game is twisted out here when you're in that lifestyle. And in that kind of lifestyle, it takes you in the areas of life that sometimes you don't want to be in, So I just want to put that out there, that you dig.
Okay,
and, Once that had happened, did they come to your house, or how did that jump off when y'all started getting knocked? Because I remember when you had the black BMW you used to ride in sometime, how did y'all get twisted?
Well, actually, we were taking hits for approximately, 18 months. Doors getting kicked in, vehicles being confiscated, money, jewelry, et cetera, et cetera. And so on this one particular day, my son was actually born, and when he came home from the hospital, I had to go out that morning to get him some supplies. But to make a long story short, I made a detour over to one of my brother's houses that lived close in the neighborhood. And on my way out, I happened to notice this particular guy. He was by himself. So I'm thinking that since it was a pretty much white neighborhood at that time, I seen his brother. I just figured, well, maybe he might be over there, got him a nice little white ball or something. He's kicking me with. And so I never alerted my brother or the other guy that was with me. There was two other people with me. One was my brother, and another one was a friend of mine named Pooh. But I kept my eye on this guy all the time just in case there was something else jumping off. And so as we took off and eventually made a right turn, I noticed that he took off out of his parking space without anyone coming outside. But down the road, this guy, he was a police officer, as I found out, because he cut us off at a light and pulled a .357 Magnum out on him. And when he learned who we actually were, he got on his radio and said that he had the Chambers brothers in custody on Dickerson and Otter Drive. And, man, I'm telling you, it seemed like it was in seconds. Man. Police was arriving everywhere, from every direction. So the first thing hit my mind was, what happened? Something that jumped off, that they could accuse us of. I never thought it was going to be an indictment, by the federal government, or I'm being charged with a drug charge. I'm thinking maybe it was a homicide or someone accused us of a hit, a contract hit, or something like that, and we'll all straighten that out once we get down to the precinct. But when we got to the precinct, I found out it was a federal indictment, and it was an X amount of counts, and let me see, I think it was 14 or 15 counts on this indictment, and I was named in one of the counts as being the leader, and my brother was named in another count being a leader, and that particular count, I was actually facing life. And that what really stung me, because I asked the agent about it, and he said, man, you facing life, DJ. Just like that. And at that time, I still could not grasp what was going on, because I'd never really been in trouble before. So when he said life, I'm still saying to myself, what the hell I have done, just being ignorant. I'm being ignorant to everything that been transpiring in my life, and what I've been doing. I did not feel that I should be facing life. I'm looking at, man, everybody selling dope. Ain't nobody doing, hell, I even feel I wasn't really doing nothing illegal. Be truthful about it. But it all was said and done. I was doing something illegal, and the jury and the grand jury agreed with it that I were. And you know the rest of the story.
Right. And at the height of that right there, BJ, how much money was confiscated in that raid that time when they wrapped everything up, when they kicked y'all buildings down, you know what I mean, and how, you know, when they finally locked you up that day?
Well, at that particular time, man, honestly, I can really say at that particular day how much money was confiscated. Because everything that I had in the street, I left it there. I never called anybody, inquired about it, or say, hey, drop that off or pick that up. I actually accepted that it was over. You know, when I failed, people still owe me 10,000, 20,000, 50,000, 80,000, 100,000, et cetera, et cetera. I had money everywhere, and something just told me though, don't call nobody. The game is over, and that's exactly how I played it. But during the course of this investigation, maybe a few millions was actually taken doing raids and other things like that. You know, so it was a significant loss, and they made sure it to be that way before they even knocked me.
Right, right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pass the mic over to my Mrs. BJ, and I definitely, once again, appreciate you being on the show and spreading this message to these young brothers and sisters, man, that, you know, what they out here trying to do in that drug game, that's done been did, you dig, and everybody who done been in that done failed in some kind of way, you know? And
Right. Okay.
Yeah, BJ, I just wanted to go back to your childhood growing up in Marianna, Arkansas. It's reported that you guys were, the whole town is pretty much a very poor town, but your family didn't have a whole lot of money, and I think you're one of, how many siblings, 12 or 14?
Yeah, it was 14 of us all together, 9 boys and 4 girls.
Wow. So
yeah.
Tell us what it was like growing up in poverty like that, with that many kids in a family, and what your family was going through at that time.
Well, me, you know, it was hard, you know, because we lived in actually a 4-bedroom, not a 4-bedroom, 4-room house. And so I slept in the bed with my twin. I had a twin brother and another brother. So, you know, it's always 4 or 5 people per room, you know, and things, you know, was tight. Food, which, you know, poverty, you know, that's what poverty leads you to. And,
right.
But I was somewhat fortunate out of all of the other siblings, actually, me and my twin, because a guy from Germany actually took me and my brother, my twin brother, and actually took care of us. And he actually did that ever since I probably was like 18 months, you know, 18 months old. But, you know, we had outside, you know, bathrooms and rats. You know, we lived right around fields, so rats invaded our home constantly, you know, and a pump. We had to pump our water, you know, from outside. You know, we had to heat our water to take a bath. We had to all share a cup to dip in a bucket to drink water. You know, that didn't change. That lifestyle really didn't change until I was, I guess, about 12 or 13 years old before we actually got an inside restroom and running water, actually. So, you know, we lived a pretty rough life coming up, you know, struggle. Right. My mom, she pretty much stayed at home and took care of it. And my dad kind of worked at, you know, a couple of jobs actually to provide for us, and then I guess with anything, as the siblings started growing up and leaving, and going on to college and to the military and running away, that took the burden off my mom, and she was able to manage to take care of a little bit better with me. You know, right. So, you know, you can imagine that my mom actually had her first kid, I think, when she was like 14 years old.
Wow.
You know, and during a time like that, we're talking about, we're talking about what, in the 40s.
Right.
You know, when she had that, you know, it was tight, not just for our family, it was tight for the whole entire community.
Right. Right,
yeah,
and it wasn't uncommon for people to go from the South up to Detroit to try to get jobs in the
Yeah, it was just like
car
oil,
industry.
anytime, gold, how, back in the days you hear where gold is everybody traveled there to mine gold or oil, and when they had the plants there, you didn't need an education or anything like that. You just need a willing heart to work. If you had that type of spirit, you can easily travel from any country, town, or state and go to Detroit and get a job.
Right. And that's what you guys did. You went there looking for employment, and that was it. I mean, you didn't, and that was your intention. Let's go and get a better job.
Exactly.
And one of your brothers was already there. He was a mail handler. He delivered mail,
Well, I had a couple of brothers. I had two brothers there. One of them actually did welding on Whitehead and Kale train. That was a company. They put trains together, and he was making nice money. And I had another brother worked at a post office. So they were actually doing good for themselves compared to where we had actually came from.
Right. And so one of those brothers, or both of them, actually kind of saved their money, and that's how you guys got the convenience store in the beginning, the party store?
Well, no, actually, that was me. I had actually came up on the money. I had made some money at that time in the weed game. I was selling plenty of weed, and I was, stacking my chips, as they say back then, in the slang. Put my money up to the side, and I had saved enough. And I was able to not only get me a house, I had bought a house on Newport, but I also was able to buy this storefront on Kirchhoff.
You bring back good memories when you say Kirchhoff, BJ.
Oh yeah, oh man, that was the hood.
That was the spot, man. No disrespect to the fans, but we used to all hang out there,
Yeah. Hey, that wasn't too far from Cliff, our man Cliff. Cliff wasn't too far from there,
Right, you already know, man. We're going to give a big shout-out to our other homeboy that should be coming home tomorrow on the 17th. We're going to give a big shout-out to CJ.
He actually be out tomorrow.
For sure.
Oh, that's what time it is.
No doubt.
That's what time
Well, you see, everybody, we brought BJ to you like we promised. You dig what I'm saying? We gave BJ and his brother and them a shout-out in my book, The Streets Don't Love You Back. And that book is in the Afro-American History Museum in Detroit, Michigan, where you can read about guys who done lived their life that I done been with, and it's all real now. And BJ is one of the first ones to step down and come home. So if you ain't got The Streets Don't Love You Back book, go get that, and then tell them your book, BJ, as well.
I have a book out. I wrote actually and had published February or March of 2007, titled Prodigy Hustle about B.J. Chambers. It's a very interesting story, true story actually, about my rise and fall and some of the people that I met, like Cliff, White Boy Rick, Bush Jones, the Best Friends, and the Curry Brothers, and the story, and the list can go on and on and on to some of the people who I bumped heads with. You had mentioned a guy, I think sometime about a couple of weeks ago that we was talking about, but he was actually murdered in a house, and then it was said that the Best Friends had did it, and it was said that someone else had did it, but I can't think of his name right now.
Right, yeah. How the game was back then. They were always trying to pin something up on somebody, you feel me?
Oh, but, man, exactly.
Like we tell people, though, when you get into the street world, there's no rules no more, you feel me? There's no conscience in that lifestyle. So we are saying to all youths around the world, go to school, get your education. That's what gets you out of poverty. That's what gets you out the ghetto. Because you're talking to a man, B.J. Chambers, who's going to have millions of dollars in the drug trade. And at the end of the day, when B.J. went to prison, it wasn't no money. It wasn't no homeboys. It wasn't no homegirls. B.J. was sentenced to 45 years in prison. So that's a man that can actually tell you the streets definitely don't love you back. And I just want to say one thing, DJ. Did you ever think after all these years you would see yourself on BET, American Gangster, telling you and your brothers mistakes y'all made in y'all life to open up these youth eyes as well? You know, when you first got a grasp of that, how did that make you feel that a message was being said about the mistakes you made and your brother to try to open these youth eyes?
Well, the thing is, like, the way I thought at that time was I was really shocked to even know that I would be labeled as a American gangster. You know, that's something that, you know, I didn't think that I deserved, actually. You know what I'm saying now? I was just a regular person. But to see now that these people here saying, hey, this guy here was the man. You know, I guess you can say I'm modest, you know, or humble, or whatever. I never looked at myself as being the man, and I did this, and I took over that, you know, but you hear so much, you got to accept it. You know, you just got to accept where the chips lay. You know, and to see that, then I'm saying to myself, okay, then, you done aired me all over the world. I got a book out, you know, I've been in Time magazine, Esquire magazine, pretty much every newspaper you want to name, USA Today, and on and on and on. And I'm hoping that I can be able to use this to help others, you know, to keep them from following in my footsteps. You know, so it's not that, you know, just like once I can go back again, you know, to the title of your book, The Streets Don't Love You Back. Because, man, that is actually true. If a lot of people don't realize that or not. When all the champagne is being popped, you know, and all the money is being spent, and all the women's and this and that, once it's over with, the streets is not going to love you no more when you're dead or you're in prison. People just got to keep being reminded of that. But once again, I just got to accept the role that I played, you know, and learn from my mistakes, and hope that others would take the opportunity to, conversate with, ask me questions. Anybody who is on your show at this present moment, you know, got anything they want to ask or want me to talk to maybe some relatives that traveling up that same path, they can contact you. You can contact me on a regular basis. You know what I'm saying now? And you relay that message over to me, and we'll see what we can do to assist them.
My man.
I just wanted to go back a little bit, DJ, and you know, when all this was going on and you guys were making all this money, you know, what did Mom and Dad think? I mean, what did they know and what did they think when you guys came back into town and with your fancy cars and fancy clothes and jewelry and recruiting other kids to go out and work for you? I mean, what was the community thinking and what were your parents thinking?
Well, you know what? That is an interesting question. Now, the thing is about that, now this is just my view of it. I think that my people really didn't worry about me because they don't know anything about drug dealers anyway. Drug dealers are unheard of in my little town. You know, they don't want to sell drugs, anything like that. Plus, you know how you're worried about a kid when you always hear him on the streets fighting and shooting and getting drunk, and so I didn't do any of them things. So my parents really didn't have a whole lot to go by to worry. They seen me, I looked good, I dressed good. You know, I wasn't a drug addict. I never asked them for anything once I left. Matter of fact, I looked out for them. So pretty much they was kind of proud of me, actually. You know, I want a violent person. I didn't cuff. So what could they say? There wasn't much they could say to me at all. But hey, glad to see me. And like the rest of the people in Marianna at that time, when I came home, they were glad to see me. Hey, there was somebody from their little town who had came up. Right.
And I'm sure you helped your parents monetarily and stuff like that. I'm sure, didn't you?
Well, I had my dad. My dad just strictly old school. You know, at that time, I couldn't give him a dime. You know, he just had his old beat-up truck, old little shack. He was cool with that, you know.
Yeah.
But over time, you know, he kind of, you know, started taking a different view, you know, accepting a few dribblings, a few drops here and there, you know, and you know, and he's still, my father, he's still alive right now. My mom, my parents, both parents is. They're doing good. They're still living there in Atlanta, you know, and, yep.
Now, at that time, when you guys were at your height, how many employees did you have working for you?
Well, me, at one time, at one solid time, I maybe had 70 at one given time. And if you can believe it or not, that's a massive operation, believe me. You know, although I know the
700
that I had. Excuse me?
Did you say 700?
No, 70.
Okay.
70.
Only 70?
Only 70, yep. Only 70.
Okay.
But the 70, you can say they worked at like 700.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because there's reports here of different newspaper articles that say you had more than 150 workers. And,
well, see, I probably did have more than 150, but not at one given time.
Okay.
That's what it is.
Right.
That's where the trick come in at. You know, they'll say I had
it's like
500,
crack houses.
you know, crack houses, but I didn't have 500 crack houses at one given time.
Right. Now, tell me a little bit about the wrecking crew. You know, the media portrayed you guys as pretty mean guys with your crews, and as far as keeping them in hand, that you were could be pretty violent. Is that true? And can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, you know, in the streets, you know, you always gonna come up with a title for everything that takes place. You know, don't get me wrong, it was some a team. You know, because you know, regardless how nice you try to be, regardless how nice you try to be, somebody's gonna try you.
That's part of the street game.
That's part of the game. You know, when people's gonna try to get at you, and when people's gonna try to get at you, you know, you got to try to earn your respect, because if you let people bully you around, eventually they'll run completely over you. So it was a team out there that was ready to respond, just like it was a team out there if a door was jammed or a car didn't start. You know, you had someone to respond to that. And if you had somebody trying to rough the neighborhood off or whatever situation may be, we had someone to respond to that. And when it was time for them to do what they had to do, they did. And some tactics was easy to just go on to talk to their parents. You know, just think like if I had a problem out of X, Y, and Z. Instead of going to X, Y, and Z, you'd simply go to maybe his uncle, nephew, mom, cousin, and say, look, this is what your family member is doing. We're trying to avoid a disaster. Could you please find him, talk to him, and tell him that we don't want it to go there. However, if it go there, you know, it's going. And that helped a lot of times.
My man, you know, so you definitely letting them know that it's consequences when you get in that life. You feel me? It's I'm finna run off with the money and I'll smoke weed with you tomorrow and we'll talk and laugh about me running off with that 100,000. No, you know, the consequences go off with the run game, you know? So that's just part of that lifestyle. And if you ain't trying to be in that lifestyle, that's something you ain't never got to worry about. You feel me? Because BJ just telling you point blank, it's a dead end, man. You feel me? And it's so many things go bad and wrong in that lifestyle. You feel me? And not many here to tell their testimony like BJ and other guys. You know, you heard what BJ said. He had 45 years, you dig, and won his appeal. So it ain't a lot of times you hit this block and be able to say, God brought me from a mighty long way, you know? So he's a living witness, man. He proved what God can do out here, you know? It's been 22 years now, and how do you feel 22 years later about Larry taping them videos and they getting the media and DEA hand?
Well, you know what? You know, that's something that I hate that happened, actually. But I guess, you know, certain things, man, just can't be avoided. You know, certain things are just a destiny, because I look at it like this right here. You know, my brother has served plenty of state and federal time. And when he got out of prison, he chose to sell drugs, you know, because he could have gave me advice in the game about prison and the court system, et cetera, but he chose not to. So, and to hear for his fellow inmates, to hear that he was involved now in one of the biggest cases in Detroit, and that he was sentenced to life in prison behind it, man. Hey, what can I say? Because if he didn't do, let me just put it this way: if I would have stayed on the street 6 months longer, I'm gonna give it back. 6 months longer, I would have received a life sentence. So thankful to him. And that videotape, the federal government was able to scoop me off the street quicker than they would normally have, and they weren't able to go through the guidelines to sentence me to the life sentence, because they weren't really up on sentencing people at that time to life.
Right. So that's cool, man.
So I don't have no animosity or hard feelings towards him, you know, concerning that.
My man, I just wanted to clear the air on that, because when we seen the BET thing, the Rhythm of Gangster thing, you know, I had told somebody when I seen that, I said, that's my homeboy. I said, BJ, man, we all used to get down together back in the day in Detroit, you know. I said, that's my man. Right. That was the first time the American Gangster I'd ever seen it, you know. I'm like, wow, they got a new program thing going on, you know. So it was just ironic, man, when my little homeboy contacted me and said, man, he said, BJ out, man, you know what I mean? I said, what? And that's when he put us together, man, you know what I mean? And at that moment, that was a happy moment in my life, man, because we hadn't seen each other since you was 25, I was 25, you know?
Big guy.
You know what I mean? And now you here after 22 to tell your testimony, man. God is good, man, you know?
No doubt. But this is to touch back on that BET interview. See, you know, that was good for show.
Right. Because see, it wasn't really
that was good for show to say that. But the fact of the matter were that me and my brother is not at the same institution. You know, we always can correspond with one another.
Right. And that's what I had let people know. I said, when I holler at BJ, I said, we're going to put that clear on the air. You know what I'm saying? That him and his brothers is still on the one. It ain't no animosity. It ain't no we don't talk. None of that. So everything you see on TV ain't what it is if you don't really know the person personally and direct. And I just thankful to God that we knew each other and we did our thing back in the day, and now we can work together and educate these youths and these kids out here, man, you know, from lessons that they truly learned out here.
No doubt. Like, you know how the street saying, you know, they got a street saying these days, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying now? You know?
Yeah.
And it is what it is. You know, he remains my brother. You know, regardless if I communicate with him every single day or once every 6 months. You know what I'm saying now? So the media can categorize as they want to. You know.
Right, my man. You feel me?
And Larry got Natural Life, right? Or
yes, Larry is well, in the federal sense, they don't call it Natural Life; they call it life. But that's exactly what it means, that he will serve his natural life in the federal system unless something miraculous come about that would reduce his sentence or call for him to be released.
Okay. And is he still writing a book about his story as well?
Yes, he do. He actually have a manuscript that I should receive, and probably early part of next week I should receive a manuscript from him. And I'm gonna put it placed on the desk and have it edited for him, and hopefully we can have it printed and on the market soon.
Cool. That's
My
good.
man. And another thing I want to ask you, B, man, I wanted to ask you a question that people been wanting me to ask you. You know, how do you feel about people that's going around here putting your face on T-shirts and all this different stuff and selling your image and your lifestyle? How do you feel about that?
Well, you know, them are, I guess you can look at them as young entrepreneurs. They not consider all aspects of it. They just looking at it like how I looked at it in the dope game. You know, I'm doing it for the money, regardless who it hurt, you know what I'm saying, or who involved or whatever the situation may be. You know, so, I don't really have no animosity towards them, but it would be good for them to show some type of recognition or acknowledgement and consult with me about that. You know what I'm saying?
My man. And I think
that's all, you know.
Right, you definitely got to pay homage to a man who paved the way, whether it was a wrong way or a right way, but you paved the way for a lot of cats and opened up the doors for a lot of cats at a very young age, you know, like you said, and I knew it even before you said it on the radio, you left a lot of money in the street, you know what I mean?
No doubt.
If cats had to pay, they still be paying now, 22 years later, they just had to pay up, you know what I mean? They weren't receiving enough checks to pay, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you was a man who let that go, and you looked at it and said, wow, you know, I done got these football numbers. Now I got to try to swallow this in because I can't see 45 years. I can't even look down the stretch that long, you know. So it was a mind blower for you for a while. So I'm just thanking you for letting these young cats know, don't glorify the money that BJ and the Chambers brothers made. What BJ is here tonight is to inform you that the streets don't love you back at the end of the day. When you're in that drug life, there's nothing but death or destruction. You ain't finna walk off and sign up for no 401k play, none of that. You're going to sign off with a death sentence or penitentiary for life sentence, you know. And by the way, BJ and them was one of the causes of Ronald Reagan and them war on drugs in the 80s, and that's how Detroit got that 650 law. Anything over 650 grams became natural life. So BJ and them helped create that law back in the day.
Not that anybody's really happy about that law.
Let me just let the viewers. Yeah, let me just let the viewers know also that that the time that I spent in prison, I just want to let them know there's a whole lot of young guys, 18, 19, 20 years old, coming to federal prison with 30 and 40 years. So the federal government is not easing up. They let the hammer fall where it falls. So don't think because you're 18 and 19, 20 years old that you're not facing that much time because they're giving them that much time. I mean, the prison is flooded now with these young guys. And the sad thing about it is a lot of these young guys really make no money out the game. They just happen to make a few dollars, get a car, a few outfits in 30 years. Now, what sense does that make? So we just want the viewers to know that the streets do not love you back.
My man, you know, and we want to have any more announcements you would like to make, BJ. You know, I know you made your announcement that your brother Billy be sending you his manuscript soon. What do Otis have, you know, in progress when he get out this year? And speak a little bit on Willie as well, you know?
Well, Otis is, he's a Muslim now, and he in love with a beautiful lady down in Houston, Texas, and I believe that's where he planned to be released in the Texas area. And Willie, like I mentioned earlier, Willie been free now for about 3.5 years, and he opened up a club called 20 Grand in Arkansas, down there in Marianna, actually right next to my mom. And he doing well. and me myself personally, I'm here in Little Rock, Arkansas, and I choose to come to Little Rock, Arkansas because, or Arkansas in general, because this is where I'm actually from. Because this is where I'm actually from, and I figured it would be best for me to come here into Detroit right now because I knew too many people in Detroit, and I didn't want to start that cycle or that circle back up again. See, here in Arkansas, I know very few people. Matter of fact, I only met a couple of people so far since I've been here. So my life here is really actually peaceful. A few people that bumped into me and just find out who I am down the line, but yet nothing has actually exploded where, people is rallying around me or want to see me this and that because I actually work all day. So, a little history of Otis, Willie, and myself.
My man. So we're going to turn the mic back over to the missus.
Just tell us a little bit about during the height of your career as a drug kingpin. What was it like, being over all of those people, and what was how did it feel to be able to buy any car that you wanted and eat anywhere that you wanted and buy all the clothes that you wanted and just do anything you wanted?
Well, I'm at swing with this right here, but it always feel good to be wealthy and to be able to do wherever you want to, when you want to, But the people that was with me pretty much was family life. With people that we got to know each other, we hung out with each other. So I didn't look at majority of people that just workers, And I bonded with their parents and their brothers and sisters. And so, but how I felt about it, I just felt good, because I felt that I was surrounded by family. And we made money, and we pretty much did what we wanted to when we wanted to.
Right. And then the same question, but after it was all taken away from you and you lost your freedom and you lost everything, in prison, you pretty much had to ask for everything that you needed or be told what to do and when to do it. Exactly. How did you feel then? Tell us that.
Starting off, it actually is depressing. You confined to a small closet, actually, and you probably roommate with someone in there. And like you said, you got to ask for every single thing that you obtain. So that's very depressing, but once you shake that, and you shake it through family and friends, and they got programs in there such, like church, schooling, recreation, and another thing. And so that kind of brings you back around. And then eventually you accept your condition and just try to come up with some type of method of doing your time.
Right. And did a lot of people, when you got to that prison, did they know who you were, or was it just kind of new to them as well?
No doubt about it. When I went to prison, federal. When you're in the federal can send you to any given state at any given time they choose to. Fortunately, I was shipped to Milan, Michigan, which is just minutes from the Metropolitan Airport in Michigan. And so there they house majority of people from Michigan or Ohio or Chicago or Indianapolis. So when I hit the compound there, I was basically, was a celebrity. People knew me personally from the street, and there were people just knew me from the TV.
Right. So there's a difference in being known and not being known as to how you're treated in the prison and being looked after and people have your back.
No doubt about that. Even when I was eventually shipped all around the world, that my name had got so large, that it was just like whenever I entered the compound or arrived at the compound, word had went out that one of the Chambers brothers have made it, and it's DJ.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And how did that make you feel? Did that make you feel have a little more comfort knowing that people knew you, knew your name and knew a little bit about you?
Well, it made me feel better a little bit better because, people will approach you. Hey, I'm from Detroit or I'm from Chicago. What you need. Or I got relatives who's on their way down here soon. If your family members need a ride or if you need something, let me know. So, it's always nice, to be treated nice,
Sure. Definitely.
Yep.
Wow. So how many different prisons were you in?
Well, actually, I started off, like I mentioned, in Milan, Michigan, which is 45 minutes, about 45 minutes roughly from Detroit. I stayed there close to 3.5 years, and I was shipped to Talladega, Alabama. And I spent 4.5 years there. Then I was shipped from there to Manchester, Kentucky. I spent 3.5 years there. Then I was shipped back to Milan, Michigan, and I served about 2.5 years there again, there on the second go-round. Then I was shipped from there to a camp in Cumberland, Maryland, and actually I did a furlough transfer by Greyhound bus. I had like a 22-hour furlough to get there on my own, and I spent almost 2 years there. And then I did another furlough transfer to Ford City, Arkansas, where I was there with one of my brothers, Willie Chambers. I did almost 2 years there at that camp. Then I was shipped from there on another furlough transfer to Yankton, South Dakota. I did 6 months there. And I was shipped from there to Sandstone, Minnesota, and I did 6 months there. Then I was shipped from there back to Milan, Michigan, where I did almost 2 years there. Then I was shipped from there to Leavenworth, Kansas, where I was paroled.
My man. So they definitely moved you around in the feds.
Oh, yeah, they shipped me. Yeah, they kept me moving. At any given time, like I say, they can just, hey, pack up, man, you ride now. And as you can see, I did a lot of rides.
Ain't no mystery, you feel me? And let the youth know you don't want to do none of that riding.
Oh, man, it can be hectic, man, especially if you go through a regular transit. Oh, man, you come out, with a beard and the whole 9 yards because sometimes it takes up to months to get there. The federal system now is a little bit better. Normally, right now is about 30 days, but back then, man, it could take 2 or 3 months to get to one destination.
Wow. That's deep, man, That's real deep. And we just want to say, man, we really, really appreciate you coming on the show tonight, B, man, and really spreading your message and letting people know you're home and what you're doing to give back to the streets, man, and the youth and everything to keep them about that lifestyle, Let's get involved with helping the youth and giving back to others. And once again, we appreciate my homeboy from back in the day, BJ Chambers, for being on the show tonight. And we just want to give him his last words.
Yeah, I'd like to thank you for allowing me on the show. I really enjoyed myself, and I hope the viewers was able to get something out of the message that we sent tonight. And like I mentioned earlier, if anyone would like to contact me, they more than welcome to do so. Just contact Rob. He know how to get in contact with me immediately, and I got my Facebook page. You can contact me on Facebook. And if you like a copy of my book, I don't have a copy at this time. We have sold out, and we have some printed in the next 30 days, and you'll be more than welcome to purchase one. And hopefully again soon, Rob, you allow me back on the show again.
Oh, ain't no doubt, BJ. You're always welcome. We family for life. You know that. It's time to just uplift and not tear down, So,
no doubt.
American Gangster himself, BJ Original, Glad you're home, homeboy, and we appreciate it, man. You dig? And much love to Otis, much love to Willie, and much love to Larry, and much love to the whole old school clique. Cliff Jones, Maserati Rick, Kimmy Cole, you get what I'm saying? Big Head, you know, Meech, the whole 9 yards, you dig?
No doubt.
We
No
out,
doubt.
peace and love. And always remember, the streets don't love you back.